Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to dive into a lot of makeup. Some of it I have tested before. I'm going to go back into the Revolution Skin Silk and hope it doesn't look as dry this time. I have a full-on testing and wear video on that if you're interested. I'm also going to use again the new Beauty Bay Reckless Romance palette, the amazing Cherry Baked Loose Powder from Revolution that I loved the first time. Am I going to love it the second time? And I've got some new brushes kindly sent to me by Oscar Charles in PR, so we're going to test them out and see if they're any good. Now I am trying to be better at going back to products that I've used once on a video, using it some more so I can actually come back and give you my final thoughts. I was doing that a lot before, then life got in the way, so that's why we're diving back into a few things that I've already reviewed, but I'm excited to try out these new brushes from Oscar Charles. Like I say, they was gifted to me in PR very kindly, so I will leave my discount code on the screen just in case there's anything you want to pick up from the brand. This will be the first time that I'm trying them. I'm now dropping brushes on the floor. Now this brush set does come in one of those cute little smart cases, and I do like that a lot because then I can keep them separate from the rest of my brushes. Now we have a lot of brushes here to test out today. Obviously we've got a powder brush. What else do we have here? What would I use this for? I like looking at brushes and thinking what would I use them for, because it's not necessarily what the brand or what other people would use them for, but that's a nice sort of smaller tapered brush. That could be good for blush. I will also link below the exact set that I got if you want to take a look. Don't mind my cat sneezing in the background if you can hear that. We have a nice flat brush here, and I'm assuming this one is the foundation brush. Okay. Ooh, that would be good for blush too. Ooh. And we have some more eye-related brushes here as well. We've got two big fluffy blending brushes, although I would be tempted to use that one as a concealer brush because that would be super cute for that. And then the rest of them then don't seem to be too big. I do like brushes like this one in particular for packing on and then blending because it's a little bit pinched but it's still fluffy, so I'm glad that that's included. These look really nice, so it's going to be interesting to see how they perform. So this specific brush set is the Lux Professional 17-piece Makeup Artist brush set in silver and black. And then in the box also came a sponge. I could always do with more sponges, and something to help you clean your brushes. Fantastic. Like I say, they're a new brand to me, so I am going to be reading about them. I did get this handy little booklet in the box. It says, the Oscar Charles Luxe Brush Collection has been designed and developed in the UK and are made from hypoallergenic and cruelty-free fibres that are suitable for sensitive skin and are vegan friendly. And I do believe this brush set, as well as the sponge and the brush cleaner, retails for £44.95. But like I say, if you want to pick anything up from the site, feel free to use my discount code. It is affiliated. Now the sponge does feel a little bit springy, but obviously I haven't wet this and I'm probably not going to, because actually the foundation that I'm testing today, I'm probably going to need a brush to apply it with, just because when I was in my first video, if you will have already seen that, you know I much preferred how it went on with a brush than a beauty sponge, but I'm super happy to have another one that is also clean. Now in preparation for putting on this foundation, I have gone in with my Glow Recipe Strawberry Pore Smoothing Blur Drops, and I have packed it on really on my forehead and nose, which was the dry looking areas in the last video, and that's been sitting on my skin for a little while now and sunk in. So I'm going to go in with the foundation. It is the Skin Silk Luminous Serum Foundation in F2. Like I say, I do have a full testing and wear video on this if you're interested, so please do check that out if you want a little bit more detail. But let's squeeze some of this out and get it on my face. I did notice as well what I forgot to say in my other video. This is only 23ml and I think it's £10.99, which is not as much product and a little bit more expensive for Revolution, so I'm not quite sure what they're doing. I'm not sure. So I'm going to go in with what looks to be the foundation brush and just start applying this, and let's hope it doesn't cling to the dry patches as much today. I did exfoliate my face last night as well, and I did find when I was applying this the first time, the colour match wasn't bad at all, and it did look beautiful on everywhere on my face that wasn't particularly dry, because I do have dry skin. This brush feels really nice. So far, so good. This foundation does have quite a strong scent to it, so if you are a little bit sensitive to scents, then I don't know if you're going to like this. It is a little bit fruity, maybe a little bit sort of watermelony, I think. I'm not the best at describing scents. Straight away, it's still looking quite dry on my forehead and my nose. Maybe I need to zoom you in. Yeah, it's basically doing exactly what it did the last time. I'm just building it up because it is buildable in the areas that I feel like I need to. It does feel quite lightweight and it is more of a light to medium coverage according to the website. But yeah, those dry patches on my forehead and nose again. I'm not loving that. Can you see how dry it is? Oh, I had high hopes. I thought if I'm just going to moisturise more, I'll exfoliate. That could be what it is. I changed the primer that I used. No, it's still super dry, which is a shame because, like I say, in the other areas, it looks really nice. Just going to pop on some concealer. It's just one that I've had for a really long time that I really enjoy. It's actually the W7. It's a matte made in heaven concealer. It's a very affordable one, but I really, really like it. And I might jump off and do my brows as well, and then we'll come back and use that cherry bake powder again, that actually the first pink powder I've used and I really liked it. Okay, so those are the brows on. Please stop judging the brows, I'm not the best at them. So I'm going to go in with the Oscar Childs C106 brush as my concealer brush, and I'm just going to blend this all in, and then we'll go in with that powder. And if you haven't seen the powder puff for this powder, you're in for a treat. Okay, let's undo it, and inside is the cutest, smallest little love heart powder puff. I'm sorry, that is adorable. So I'm going to tip out some powder. The powder also does have a scent. I feel like it is a slight cherry scent, which is really, really cute. And I am just going to use this under the eyes, and then I'll go in with another powder to set the rest of my face because I do not like a tacky face. Although having said that, I don't know if this has dried down a little bit better this time. Maybe I shouldn't set the rest of my face and do something a little bit different testing out this foundation this time around. Am I going to regret that though? I'm not going to lie, my under eyes don't look as good as the first time that I applied this powder. I'm not quite sure why, because it was the same concealer. I mean, it's not bad, it's just not as impressive as the first time I used it, if you know what I mean. So if I'm not going to be setting the rest of my face, which does upset me a little bit, because although I have dry skin, I don't like a tacky face. It's not that tacky. I can live with it. I don't think I'm going out today. Now I have just popped on a little bit of contour, and I'm going to go in with some bronzer next, but I'm going to keep testing out these brushes, and I'm going to use the C103 to pop on some bronzer. Wow, that picks up the product really well, and looks like it blends it nicely too. I do like smaller face brushes and more tapered face brushes, just so then you can be a little bit more precise with your placement. If they're too big, you just can't do it, you know? It just gets a bit crazy and runs away with you. Okay, for blush I'm going to use the C102, and I'm going to go into the Plouise. It's the Icing on Top palette. I think this was one of the limited edition ones for Christmas that we got in the advent calendar, I believe, because I want some pink blush, because I am going to be using that Beauty Bay palette that has got lots of pinks in it, so I thought we'll stick to the pinky theme. As much as I love orange blush, I have actually been wearing a lot more pink recently. These brushes definitely pick up the product really well. Now I'm just going to go in with some setting spray, spray on my face, and then we're going to use some highlighter. My fan has run out of battery and I keep forgetting to charge it, so I'm having to do it the manual way. Oh, first world problems, guys. Okay, so for the highlighter palette, I'm using the Plouise Wrap It Up palette, which wasn't limited edition, and I think you can still buy that, so yay. Which is the pinky shade. They are a little bit shifty in here, which is why I wanted it. And I'm going to use this shade up here because it has got a pink shift to it. I am going to use the C108 for this, because this to me is more leaning highlighter than eyeshadow, just because I prefer a smaller highlighter brush in general. Ooh. Oh, I love this highlighter palette. And it has got more wearable shades in this highlighter palette, but it's also got some green, purpley blue. Oh, stunning. Okay, I'm thinking with the Beauty Bay palette, the last look I did include some of the black, I believe, and I included the red. But I think this time I'm gonna have to, I've got kind of no choice but to include the greys and maybe pinks. So that is the route we are going down today. I'm not the biggest fan of grey eyeshadow in the world. It doesn't like scream at me like, ooh, I'm so delicious, but we're We're going to use some greys, we're going to use some pink and see what different kind of looks we can come up with this, because like I said, I've only done one look so far. I'm going to prime with my Beauty Bay eyeshadow base, and really I need to use up the rest of this now because there's not that much left, and then I can buy a new one. I do quite like this base, but just bear in mind you might not if you have super oily lids. I don't know, because mine are on the drier side. I still kind of feel the same way about this palette as I did before. I'm not that impressed with the colour story, to be honest. It's not my favourite personally, but I know a lot of people in my comments were saying that they really enjoyed it. I'm going to use that taper brush I was talking about earlier, the C109, that is a little bit fluffy but also is a little bit pinched on one side, because I feel like that's perfect for packing in the outer corner and then blending. So what shade shall we begin with? Because we're going to go in with the greys, I think I'm going to start out with the sort of mid-tone grey, because there's 3. So I'm going to start out with Last Night and pop that in the outer corner. Because it's a little bit tapered and a little bit flatter, this brush, it's just nice just to pack on in. I'm not actually blending, I'm just packing that right in to the outer corner. I'm going to take it a little bit higher and a little bit further out just so that we can see it, and it's going to be a little bit more dramatic, because would this be a Kerry look if it wasn't a little bit dramatic? And then that's the beauty of brushes like this. Then you can just use the tip of the bristles to just blend on the edge of what you have packed on. Okay, I'm going to clean that brush off, then I'm going to go into the lightest grey, which is called Backstage, and just very gently tickle on the edge. Now, I don't have a grey undertone as far as I believe, so this isn't necessarily going to blend out absolutely perfectly, but we're just going to do it to the best of our ability so it looks somewhat blended. I'm going to use this real small brush, the C113, and I'm just going to use those grey shades just to wrap around a little bit onto the lower lash line. This is a super precise brush. If you don't want a big smoked out lash line, you could wrap the shades around with this extremely precisely. I think then I'm gonna go into maybe a little bit of Fling first, and then we're gonna end up in Rebel, and we're gonna go toward the inner corner. I was saying there wasn't really a light matte in this that would brighten up my inner corner, because this one is more or less my skin tone, so I had to use a shimmer, and I do prefer a matte inner corner, but it's not a make or break for me in a palette. It's just something to note if that bothers you. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of Fling first, just to bridge the gap between this grey that we placed down and the pink that we're going to be going into. So as you can see, I placed that down and it's got lost in my crease when I relax my eyes. So just be careful of that when you're blending, because obviously it looks like that there's a lot there. But if you do have hooded eyes like I do, then that's going to get a little bit lost. So you can blend it up a little bit higher. But like I say, I am going to be using that light pink to blend it out a little bit as well. So cleaning off that brush on my colour switch and going into Rebel. And I just want to pop that toward the inner corner. Wow, okay. This is just a very grungy palette in general, rather than a bright colourful one. And as much as I love grunge, when I think of grunge palettes that I like, they're generally green based. So it's not that I'm adverse to grunge, I just prefer it when colours like this are bright and popping, but you know, Beauty Bay can't do that with every palette. And I have just used that pink to kind of blend out everything that was going on above. But I will go back in with those greys and maybe even a black. Going into just a little bit of that black just to intensify everything a little bit more. I'm not going to lie guys, I'm not excited about greys. And even putting it on now, I'm just a bit like, you know. I'm not overjoyed with how it's looking because like I say, I just feel like it's the colour story that's not speaking to me, but I'm going to go ahead and finish off the lower lash line, and I'm going to take the C115 and just take a little bit of that pink shade to wrap round and match up with the greys and the black, and then we will go in with some shimmers. Okay, I'm looking at the shade Muse because I know I didn't use this last time and I feel like that's what we need to use. Yeah, I might just go in with it on my finger now that I've actually, ooh. A lot of the Beauty Bay shimmers do apply better with the finger in general, so I'm not sure if you're going to get the same effect using a brush, probably not, but that is a beautiful pink. And I feel like for the inner corner, the only one I can go in with is the one that I used last time, which is Girlfriend, because that's the only thing that's going to be anywhere near light enough to brighten things up in that area. So I'm going to go in with Girlfriend, and I'm going to spray it and pack this onto the inner corner, just so we've got something that's, ooh, nice and light and bright. Should I use a little bit of the shade Fishnets, which is a black with sparkle, just to push the gap between that pink and black a little bit more? Why not? Why not? Yeah, I can definitely see a little bit of the sparkle still in that black as I'm applying it. I'm just going to go in with the black in my waterline. I'm going to stick on some lashes, pick a lip, and then we'll come back and talk about the things that we tried today and hopefully have a finished look that I'm happy with. Okay guys, we have the finished look, and overall now, let me actually adjust my mirror so I can see what I'm talking about. I feel like this is a nice grungy Barbie look. Do you know? I do like the pink with the grey with the black. How it's all come together in the end, I now can see the vision, and I do quite like this look on me. It's not something I typically go for. I don't go for a lot of pink eyeshadow in general, especially pairing it with grey, but actually I feel like the look looks quite nice, how it's all pulled together. I did use the Colourpop lipstick, the Alice in Wonderland one. I don't actually think the shade is written on this anywhere, is it? Most Curious. This is the lipstick, and then I did use an Unearthly Cosmetics lip gloss on the top in Havoc, which is a nice shiny pink, and I feel like it went together beautifully. Now, I did in my most recent video test the new Plouise lash glue, and I did use it again today. I've updated my thoughts on this. Ugh, my eyes are currently still sticking together, so you can probably guess what I'm going to say if you saw my other video. This takes too long to dry down. Even when I've waited, which I don't usually need to do with my velour lash glue, I waited quite a while. I was applying my lipstick and all of that stuff, waiting for the lash glue to get a bit tackier on my lashes before I applied them. I applied them, and now it's still ridiculously sticky. And what I did notice the last time as well was when I was removing my makeup at the end of the day, after using all the normal products that I use to remove my makeup, the cleansing balm and then a cleanser, all of that stuff, I still had lash glue that was extremely sticky in my lashes. So I'm not the biggest fan of this, guys. To be honest, it's putting me off using it, because even as we're talking now, I can feel my eyes wanting to stick together still. Like, how long are we supposed to be waiting for this to dry? This is not my favourite. I'm going to be sticking to velour. I'm glad that I test out things more than once to come back and let you know, because, I mean, as a glue, yes, it kept the lashes on, but, like, still, even now, it's so sticky. It's not my favourite. The foundation did exactly the same thing as it did the last time that I wore it. It does cling to dry patches. It's a shame because the rest of my face looks absolutely fine. It looks really nice. It looks like my skin but better, unless you've got dry patches, and then it's going to cling to them just from looking at what it's doing to my face. I did feel like, though, on that testing video, after I'd worn it for 6 hours and I showed you the close-up, it did look slightly better, because although I haven't got oily skin, obviously over time your natural oils do come out, and it didn't look oily by any means, because like I say, I am not oily skinned. This lash, oh, it's so sticky. But yeah, it did look a little bit better by that point, but still not as good as my NARS Soft Matte, considering I'm a dry skinned girly and I like a soft matte foundation better than this one that you would think would be amazing for dry skin. So yeah, second impression, well, it did the same thing as the first time, so I haven't changed my mind on this yet. I am, of course, going to keep using it a few more times before I come back and give you my total final thoughts, but I'm telling you now, guys, this lash glue, I don't know if I'm going to use this lash glue again, just because it's so sticky and it is a pain to remove. That is definitely not my favourite. The Cherry Bake, ooh, let's actually check the under eye area. This is one of the best under eye powders that I have used. I did feel like I was a little bit more impressed with it the first time I used it, I'm not gonna lie. It did look, I don't know what I did differently, but this time it looked a little bit more similar to how it usually does when I apply powder under the eye. But overall, I actually think this is probably one of the best that I've tried for under eye, and it's the first pink powder that I've used, and I think it's really, really nice. So it was a good purchase. The Beauty Bay eyeshadow palette, I mean, like I say, it's not my favourite colour story in the world. This colourway definitely isn't geared towards me. There are a lot of people that love it and that is fantastic, but yeah, for me, it doesn't get me excited looking at this colour story. Overall, I really like the look, but would I prefer a bright green look? Yes. Yes, and we all have different preferences and that is okay, but the quality is more or less the same as what I'm used to from Beauty Bay, and it does have some putty-like shimmers. I do have a dedicated video reviewing this if you want to check anything out in a little bit more detail about this. And the brushes! Okay, these are all the brushes that I used in today's video, and I still have, these ones to test, so I will definitely be doing that. I didn't get a chance to powder my face today because I was leaving it, wasn't I? Just to test the foundation a little bit different, but that looks like a really nice powder brush. I'm excited to use the rest of them, but actually, so far with these brushes, I'm really impressed with them. I think they're really good quality. They definitely pick up a lot of product and they're able to disperse it once it is on the face and blend really nicely. I feel like the eyeshadow brushes and the face brushes worked really well. I really did enjoy the foundation brush, but I really liked this brush for bronzer because it is on the smaller side. It's a little bit tapered, it's a little bit angled. You can be a little bit more precise with your placement. I think they look really nice and smart. Like, you can get them in different colorways. I think there was a gold and a black. Like I said, we'll link these down below as well as my discount code just in case you want to pick anything up from the site. But thank you so much to Oscar Charles for sending me those brushes because I always need more brushes because then I don't have to clean my older ones, but they are really nice quality. Hopefully this video wasn't a million years long and I've been able to edit it down as much as possible, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please do let me know what you think to the look, about any of the products that I tried today. Let's have a chat about them in the comments. I will leave down below my socials as well as my YouTube membership, my Patreon group. We now have a Discord for my Patreon group, so please do join in the fun if that is of interest to you, and hopefully guys, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!